most people know what a candle is, right? Like the open, the close, and the wick is the high and the low.
Sure.
But they never just go that one step further. If you just think those are my buyers and those are my sellers, because you say, are they all the same? Yes and no. So this is actually why, if you guys ever watch me trade, you're in my group. It's the same stuff over and over again because I know who my people are. Like you get to know who the buyers and sellers are in that group because that's all this is like a CVS receipt, about the same length. It's just all the transactions that took place because a transaction had to take place for that candle to even show up. So like when you're looking at these, all it shows is the amount of buyers and sellers, the lack thereof, their idea of where they think resistance is, where they think they should sell, where they think a good deal is, and the overall opinion. The bigger opinion wins. If there's 51 buyers and 50 sellers, it moves up. More buyers it goes up, more sellers it goes down, and you're almost there because the only difference is, and what I'll focus on a lot is who are your buyers, because I can tell you right now. You want me to break down Atom? What is Cosmos?
Yep.
This one's crap. I'm just kidding. Okay. As far as the chart goes, when we get to the bottom time frames,
brilliant though. I'm glad you said this. Okay, and this is why, because they have a massive, Cosmos has a massive what do you call it, like convention in Brazil on the 26th. So we're right around the corner. In a couple days it starts. They are announcing in that conference the Atom 2.0 tokenomics, basically the new version 2 Atom. And it's really how the burn is going to be very different. Also how they're planning on navigating a stable coin in these new times as well, how it's going to be collateralized, how everything in the Cosmos system is now supposed to be collateralized through Atom. So I wanted you to do this one, not only to see where we are, but to see where after about a week or so, this news gets not only confirmed, but saturated in the community, how it's likely going to bounce and bounce hard.
But if you feel this, there's not enough data to do a demo with, because right now your objective is to show us the charting.
Yeah, if we need to do a
clean
different
chart, choose anything you want.
Charts are charts. Like that's the thing is the cool thing. It's why I'll probably never write a book. Is a book will tell you that picture perfect image, and then there's the reality of it. Like you're going to come across this, and that's why I'm on the weekly time frame right now, which makes things a little bit clearer.
So how did you even get here? Like what website are you on, and how did you get all these red and green bars up?
So this is TradingView, tradingview.com.
Okay.
There's paid versions, there's free versions. The reason I follow these individual futures that you guys see all drawn up, millions of colors, lots of them. By the way, that's gonna break. Just so everyone knows. We're going to the purple just so there's no panic. But so this is SPX 500 USD. If you actually look at that, that's the contracts for difference overseas. What this does give you is the live candle action. So even though I pay for it, some people don't. The reason I do this is so that literally everyone can follow along. If you have the internet connection, which I assume you do because you're watching this, you can go to tradingview.com, type in that ticker, and you're watching the futures contracts, the price action of them for the S&P 500.
Excellent.
So if it's, go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to tell us how this correlates to the chart that you had brought up, a brand new clean chart with no lines.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
So this is what the clean chart ends up looking like after we do our own analysis, guys. So we end up with different colors everywhere. But I agree with you on that big blue bar, sir. 100%.
Yeah, it's coming down.
Yes,
and I can't wait because this got me off track a little bit. That was an impressive bear rally run. What do they call that stupid thing?
Yeah, bear rally. Face melting bear rallies, or
what there's rip your face off rally, but there's the just a bear market rally. That sounded wrong for some reason.
Yes. And by the way, for anyone, a bear rally is the market is in a bear condition. It's in a downtrend, and a bear rally usually rallies the price of the whatever we're looking at to that downward line that Don drew. And that's how we get confirmation. Is it a bear rally or is it not?
Got it.
I'll leave it at that. I'll step back. Don?
Yeah. Just a counter trend rally. Some buyers showed up. So again, it's who are your buyers and sellers. And once you guys know the avenues they do, because like if someone's short the market, they sold to open, they have to buy to close, which is buy side activity. You got people like me that just watch it, which I jump in the buyer crew. And so Jaime, you see people like Jaime, there's a line there. So he's drawn because of that. And I word it that way because there's so many lines you can draw on a chart. And someone's going to buy off that line because they believe that indicator works. That's what they were taught in a course. That's what they just found to believe one time. It worked one time, so they were right. Like, you got some guy that he's got a line because, the Zimbabwe dollar and a full moon line up or something. Not a lot of buyers on that one probably, but he's certainly a buyer. So like the more popular indicators, I don't want to say sometimes they work, but your pool of buyers are there. And that's what's more important is the buyers versus sellers, because most people actually believe in a rally like this, there's a lot of buyers. When in fact, there's just not at all. There's actually very much a lack of sellers, which pushes it up like that. Anytime you run into this, that's the opposing force. Somebody thought that was a resistance. This is a low volume run. There was a lack of sellers to get in the way. And just like electricity, it will run an infinite until it finds resistance. If any electricians have ever done that, they've watched wires glow orange in like a matter of 1 second, melt everything off. Yes. But so what I look for when I draw these zones is that area of attention, because we can say right here. So we were selling off. Everyone had no problem selling this. Someone right here thought it was a buy because the buyer started to show up. In fact, you see buyers started to show up here because there was that wick. Sell side still too strong, came back in. Buyers are still right here. So I'm going to end up drawing over this candle bodies right here. But we know buyers came in right here. They were holding it down right here. As soon as we got anything below this, so hang on. What is going on? There we go. How many lines did I draw there? They said, give me all of them you got. I'll take all of it. Sends it back up. No one's at the party anymore. Now there's 0 buyers, so we continue on the flush. So as soon as there's more sellers than buyers, we continue down. But there's that opposing force. So that's Jaime with a line. There's another guy with a rainbow chart. All the colors aligned. Captain Planet was right there. The Fibonacci people. Everyone who was buying, they're buying right there for their excuses. I actually don't care why. Like if you think the Tooth Fairy bought it, that is fantastic. As long as it lines up with this, I'll buy it. So that's why I also don't care too much about news, because that's how they create that liquidity. Look at the game of tug of war that was played right here. Sellers and buyers. They really tried to play it. Traditional supply and demand, if you guys are going to YouTube that, they would have their zone probably similar to this. They would take that bottom candle and they would grab all of that. You won't see my zones there because I like to just get in off the radar, in the game of tug of war, and I'll use these wicks for risk management. So if I was going to buy it, I would go into this zone coming in hot right in here. After that wick, I would buy somewhere right inside here. My stop loss would be below the wick. And then my realistic take profit would actually be somewhere right there, which you can see, wouldn't have panned out. There's management in between when it comes into these zones, because once it gets out of there, I put my stop in the green so I can take that risk off the table and then let it run. As long as it's on the gain train, so am I. Then that would have tagged out and then probably gone short.
Okay. For a second, I'm just going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
So did you grab that sideways action where you grabbed and made your 2 horizontal yellow lines?
Mm-hmm.
Did you grab that because that was the last, I guess, rally or high sideways price action compared to where we are now? Or why did you start exactly where you started versus at the end of the chart as you know it in the little, the 2 little red boxes? Or why'd we back up where we backed up? Right.
So if you want to find resistance, that overhead supply, there's a bunch of fancy words for it. Go up and to the left.
Okay.
And if you want to find that support, go down and to the left. That's your most immediate. Just up and over. And this is actually a popular question: is how far back do you go? If it's on the chart, I'll look at it. If it's 5 years ago, you got to take that with a grain of salt, though. Actually, right. Ford was a great one. So these faded out zones right here, we're on the weekly. The last time we were there, so this is where I drew those zones. Here's that's actually a bear flag, because as we were selling off, found some buyers, ended up just buyers ran out and melted down. But look at that. That was 2001. So
Oh,
I
wow.
drew these zones, but I made them super faded because, take that with a grain of salt, a lot of things have happened in 20 years. But someone was still watching that level. Who cares what their reason is? We ran right to that, found those same sellers, sold right back off.
Wow.
And
Simply
we
left.
can argue about the why till you're blue in the face. The truth is, no one will ever know the why. We could speculate, hey, I think it's because of this. Algo said this. Someone traded that. But we would just never know, because this is the collective of everyone's opinion on where it goes up or down. Because the one thing we all have in common is we're literally all looking at the same chart, and we can sit there and look at this and argue about it. It's subjective, almost like art. Like, what do you think about this? Someone in the chat is going to say it's bullish. Someone in the chat's going to say bearish. What's this? Yeah, like Tamp. That's a great example. She thinks it's going to stay above 12, and I'm gonna look at it like, no, you're kidding me. And obviously I'm right, but
This is a trader versus a fundamentalist. So this is where this bet is going to eventually. That's what it's going to boil down to.